I want to talk about the show Margo Has Money Troubles. It's on Apple TV, but it's originally a book by an author, Ruthie Thorpe, and my sisters were watching it. They recommended it, so I thought, let me start with the audiobook. I love to listen to or read a book and then watch the show or movie after, and I was instantly struck with how good the writing is. I've been trying to find just like kind of an easy, fluffy read, but also has really rich characters and an interesting storyline, and the writing and the characters are not lazy, and this is it. It is a lot of really beautiful metaphors and a way of bringing up topics that could come across really preachy, but she's treating them in a way that is not preachy. And I'll give an example. So I've only read half the book and I've only watched 3 episodes of the show, so I am going to give some spoilers, but I actually don't know how this is going to end. The main character is having a conversation with her roommate about whether or not OnlyFans is morally okay and does it make her a whore to be on OnlyFans. And they're thinking about it. They're just having a really casual conversation. And the roommate says, I think the difference is, say you're just like beautiful or hot and a man is watching you undress, but you don't know about it, but they get to enjoy the pleasure of seeing your nude body. Then you're not a whore. But as soon as you are aware that it's happening, and then you're in control of it, when and how much, even to the point where you are benefiting from it, then you're a whore. Huh, interesting. They're like, I wonder where that idea even comes from. They just described a feature of the patriarchy without making it really like preachy or intentionally didactic. And I just thought there's lots of conversations like that are handled so well. Like that same roommate character is talking about how when she was young, she used to pleasure herself to SpongeBob. And her theory was, her family was very religious, that if you were doing that to a character that was wholesome and not a real person, then it was somehow okay. And all these like moral justifications that we create around religions or belief systems to make things right and wrong. And the other theme I thought was interesting when she's talking about wrestling, her father, Nick Offerman's character, is a professional wrestler, and there are these different kind of archetypes that wrestlers take on in order to tell a good story. So if you're the heel, you're basically the antagonist, the villain, the bad guy. You could be the face, which is like the attractive one. I think there's more to it than that, but I forget. But you take on these personas so you can have conflict with the other characters, but you're not solely that archetype. So you could be a heel, but as soon as you take your glasses off and you give them to a little kid, now you're the hero. Or you can be the face or the good one, but as soon as you like punch a woman, you're the heel. And I like this idea of, she's basically saying people are not black and white, good, bad all the time. We're fluid based on our choices and our actions. And that's another thing that was handled really well. Also, the whole idea that Margo, the main character played by Elle Fanning, who is incredible. I loved her in The Great, and she's such a talented actress. And she has a baby. She's 19 years old. She's not with the father. And the way they show how truly challenging it is to have an infant and how little she understood about the type of childcare she would need, how limited she would be in what she would be able to do, like leaving the house whenever she wants to. They show them ringing in the price of diapers, and now her Amazon card is $250 just buying things for the baby. Like these very real things that is hard to impress upon someone that hasn't had children. And when people say it's hard, and you're like, sure, it's hard, but you don't really understand. I think they did such a great job not glossing over that in a way that so many films and shows do. They kind of make it like funny, and it's like, no, this is really hard, especially if you have a colicky baby. So I thought that was handled really well. But of course, like the tender moments are there and the love is there, and that feels very real too. The other thing that I think is the most fantastical about this show, forget like her how real her OnlyFans success is portrayed, at least so far. I just assumed she'd post and then suddenly she would just be famous. It was easy, but like, it's actually not as easy to go viral or build the audience as you might think they might make it seem in a show like this. It's like a slog to kind of really nail it, but nail it by being true to yourself and being vulnerable and unique, which I think is a very real thing. But the most fantastical part, forget all of that, is I think what might be so appealing to this story for women is she's getting a chance to heal her father wound in a way that many of us will never get that chance. One, because like in my case, your father has passed away, or he comes to her having understood his role in not being there for her, his being wrong about certain things, and he is humble. He is working on his own stuff. He needs her as much as she needs him. He doesn't judge her. He comes to her, like there's a scene where she is on the phone with a friend, she gets mad, she throws her phone in the toilet, regrets it, and the next scene he's like blow drying her phone. It's like, well, I've thrown my share of phones in the toilet. Surprisingly resilient, like no judgment. Versus her mom, played by Michelle Pfeiffer, is understandably very frustrated with this situation, and compounded on that is the fact that she has gotten engaged to a very religious man. So now she's trying to adopt and pretend into this religious life, and what her daughter is doing is really the antithesis of that. But she's so frustrated that she went through this experience of being a single mom and the father not really being there, and now he gets to swoop in and like be the hero in her life, and how frustrating that is for the mom, and she doesn't want her daughter to make the same mistakes that she makes, but it's actually creating such distance between her and her daughter, this judgment and this wanting to project onto her daughter what she thinks a good life is for her. And we're so justified in our anger and frustration. We're allowed to be mad, but we can create distance with our children through our judgments and our own dysregulation. And you see Michelle Pfeiffer doing this a little bit in the story. A little bit about fashion. God, Margo's wardrobe is so hideous, but it feels very like, I think they're trying to make her not a glamorous character, which I admire. Michelle Pfeiffer, on the other hand, is so glamorous. Her nails are done perfectly. Her hair is like a little overdone, like a little too perfect. She's always dressed to the nines. And she even says, like, the only thing that I'm good at is being pretty. And they say in the books, there's obviously things you get from the book you don't get in the show, that her mom is judging her for like using her body to get money from men or get something out of men. And she's thinking, that's what my mom has trained me to do my whole life. She was giving me lessons in beauty and how to talk to men to get certain responses. She's just manifesting it in a different way. Just so interesting. But Michelle Pfeiffer walks in one scene with this very cool, like peplum style denim jacket, which I immediately started Googling. Like, denim jackets are not ideal for soft dramatics. I've never felt like cute in a denim jacket like other women do, and they're always surprised, like, how can you not own a denim jacket? It's such a staple. I'm like, it's just not quite for me. But that peplum style, I was like, that actually could work. But I'm looking at her thinking, oh, she looks like a dramatic classic. She's got that like kind of delicate bones, she looks tall and elongated, but not like wide in her frame. And so I looked it up, and people do tend to think she's a dramatic classic. And then Elle Fanning, I'm guessing she's a flamboyant natural. You do not perceive her as dainty or delicate, right? She's got like strong bones. I love seeing this because it's like, it just reminds me how many different beautiful body types there are that are so different, but ultimately so beautiful. And the last thing I'll say is I was at a nursery, like a flower lawn landscaping place, and I was waiting for my husband to check out. So I was just walking around and looking at all the flowers, just like really holding them and looking at like the way that the stamens are shaped and the patterns, and like how they're just made to attract and magnetize, because that's what feeds them in this reciprocal symbiotic relationship. And I thought all these flowers are so different, and you get a totally different feeling when you look at them, a different impression, a different like state, but they're all so beautiful. They're kind of like body types. Like you wouldn't want them to be the same. That would be so boring. So be the beautiful flower that you are, and like radiate and amplify that particular brand of beauty. And I promise it's going to be more beautiful than trying to fit into one mold, one cookie cutter shape. So a little bit long, but so many themes were coming up with this show and this book that I wanted to share. And if you'd like, I'll do a part 2 once I finish the show and kind of wrap up the whole thing. But hopefully you enjoyed. See you soon.